Welcome to the Chester Centurions Podcast, where we share inspiring stories from entrepreneurs making a real impact. Today's guest is Kath Jones, the founder of Think Wine, a premium wine brand redefining the sparkling wine market with low sugar, vegan, organic, and low sulfite Prosecco and Rosé. Think Wine has expanded rapidly from e-commerce routes to securing major hospitality and festival partnerships and soon launching a non-alcoholic line. In this episode, Kath shares why she created a product to solve her own problem and turned it into a thriving business, the challenges of breaking into the snooty wine industry without a traditional background, hard-won lessons on resilience, team building, and asking for help, and honest insights on work-life balance and how she's adapting to shifting customer trends. This is a fast-paced, down-to-earth conversation with a real gold for any entrepreneur. So let's dive in. So, Kath, welcome to the Chester Centurion Podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Listen, before we get started today, I'd love to know more about Think Wine. I'd love to know what it is you guys do, what makes you special. Tell us a bit about the business.
Okie doke. So Think Wine is a low sugar, low calorie, vegan, organic and low sulfite wine brand. So at the moment we have just two sparkling wines. One is a Prosecco and the other is a Pinot Grigio sparkling rosé. We are very soon going to release a new product, a 0% alcohol product, which we're really, really excited about. Currently, we do the two wines in different sizes. So we have the 750ml bottles, then we have 200ml bottles, and then we've got cans as well, which are doing really, really well across like the event and the hospitality festival scene. So yeah, we've got the three products, but the two products, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Sounds like an incredible product. And I'd love to know more about it and why you came to sort of consider this. It seems pretty unique, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it was created for me. I really wanted this product and it didn't exist on the market. So I created it for myself with I guess the expectation that other women like me were also going to love it. Mm-hmm. Because I've always struggled personally with my weight in terms of, I'm up and down. I'm very like intolerant to sugar. I can't possibly taste anything that's overly sugar. Mm-hmm. Like, so every time I would go to say like a launch party or a networking event, you get a glass of Prosecco on arrival. It was just full of sugar, gives you heartburn, isn't particularly nice. Mm. And I was thinking there must be a way to create a product like this with way less sugar levels. Mm-hmm. And then I started looking into it, and there was literally just one competitor. So I tried it and it tasted terrible. So I thought, okay, there's space here for me, in this space for me to create something like way better. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. I set about like coming up with our own recipe. So it's not a white label product. It's just ours. It's my recipe. So you can't get it anywhere else. But it's a premium. When people hear Prosecco, I think sometimes they think, oh, it's cheap. Prosecco is just sugary, like cheap drink. I rather prefer champagne. People compare us to champagne because it is like quite dry tasting. Mm-hmm. But what happens is when you mass produce a Prosecco, the quality isn't great, so they have to lace it with sugar to mask the bad taste. While as with ours, because the quality is so phenomenal, the grape is so looked after. It's a tiny little family-run vineyard where they're so hands-on. So that means we don't have to add any sugar to our product, which is how we get to do it and make it nice and premium and high quality, low sulfites, etc.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You've got me thirsty now, Kath.
I know. Don't worry, some on the way to you.
So how do you sell this? Do you sell it business to customer or business to business? What sort of channels have you got?
Yeah, both at the minute. Okay. So my background is actually business to customer sales, like e-commerce sales. I've done that for many, many years. So that was kind of the initial idea, like I'm going to sell this direct to customer via our website and Amazon, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So that bit was kind of straightforward because of my background, while as the B2B side has
Mm-hmm.
been quite a struggle. And that is because I have no background in that. And it's very much a case of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Everyone knows each other in that industry. And especially like the wine industry in itself, it's quite a snooty industry. So you have to try and bang the door down really to get a foot in. But we've been doing it for a good few years, and this past year has been really phenomenal for us, and a lot of doors have come open, and we stock some phenomenal venues. So yet now we're almost, I'd say, 50-50 on the like B2C, B2B, while as before it was probably 85% B2C and 15% B2B. Now it's like 50-50, which is, to be honest, is the goal for me.
Perfect. Very good. So what motivated you to start your own business, and what was the driving force behind your decision to take on this entrepreneurial journey? I mean, you've talked a little bit about you've made the product for you, but from a personal point of view, what was the driving force?
It's hard to answer that really, because I think it was in me from age like 8. I've always known that I would run a business. I used to do all types of like businessy things when I was young, like sell tickets to shows, start a tuck shop on the corner. I always remember when I wanted my very first contract phone, it used to be pay as you go. I wanted a contract phone, so I put together, when I was like not even 10, a full pitch, and I pitched it to my dad at the end of the bed. Like, this is why you need to get me a phone contract. And it was like, they always say, like, we knew from very young that you were just business. And I knew as well. I always used to say, I'm going to run my own business. I'm going to run my own business. But I never knew what that business would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I needed experience. I couldn't just like come, be 16 and run my own business. But yeah, I always knew. And I don't actually know what the driving force was. I just know it was in me.
That's really interesting. You're not the first person I've heard say that. I actually watched, and I know I watched Michelle Mon speak on stage many, many years ago before lockdown. And she tells a story very similar to that, where she ran fleets of newspaper boys. They all reported into her, and she ran them in Glasgow.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I think she was about 8 or 9 at the time. And then obviously she went on to invent the Ultimate Cleavage bra and made her money from that. But
amazing.
She knew very early she was an entrepreneur as well. But a lot of the people I interview in the podcast, they get to the point working for someone else when they say, right, I can do this myself. Have you ever worked for anyone else?
Yeah, I did. I worked for the Marriott for a while. That was like a very corporate style role. Then I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, again, very corporate style. Then I moved into a small business. And that was when I was like, okay, these are the skills I need to start my own business. So I think I learned a lot in like the corporate businesses, but it wasn't until I got to the small business that I was like, right, okay, now I'm picking up the skills required to run my own business. But running my own business was always the end goal.
So in your head, you're going, right, I'm learning stuff here.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I knew that was what I was doing always.
Because if you want to be good on the phone, go and work in a call center for 6 months, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Interesting. 100%. Really interesting. So what are some of the common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you go about addressing them?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think people, when I first said I was starting my own business, people seemed to think like I was going to have this easy life that was like, oh, you can just work when you want. And, you can. So my friends would say to me, like my friends who have kids, I don't have kids, but they'd be like at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, like, oh, come on, we'll take the kids for something to eat. And I'm like, I'm working. And they're like, no, you work for yourself. You can do what you want. I'm like, no, you can't. It's not how it works. You can't just pick yourself up at 11 a.m. and go for breakfast with the kids.
No.
And I think because they don't have any kind of business knowledge or background. They genuinely believe that like if you work for yourself or if you have a business that has staff, that you can just do whatever you want and run free. Whereas it's the complete opposite. I've never worked anywhere near as hard as I do now having my own business. But obviously I always worked hard, even when I worked for someone else, because I always was driven to be the best in every job role that I've ever had. So no matter what job I've had, I've always worked like extra hard. And so like I've had that in me anyway. But I think with my friends, like they've got great jobs, don't get me wrong, but they see it as like, but it's a job. So like it turns off at 5, while as I'm like, no, it carries on forever.
Interesting. So, on that subject, how do you maintain a kind of work-life balance? And, as a business owner, do you have any personal rituals or habits that keep you motivated and focused?
So I've got to be honest, like I am not great with my work-life balance. But I feel like I have a plan that, I am still young. Well, yeah, ish. I'm 35 and I would like to be fully retired, fully done by 50. So I just think if I can, okay, maybe I'm not having my weekends or not getting evenings, but that's okay because when I'm 50, people will tell me, you never know, you'll be dead. And I'm like, I know, but I don't mind that. Like, I know that I've got to work hard during this period to have like a great life with travel wherever I want, do whatever I want, have as much money. I really like the idea of that. So even though I am working probably more than I should now, it's with a kind of like an end goal in sight. So I'm not the best person to give advice on that because I don't have a great work-life balance. But I do some things like, for example, there's certain days that I will not start work until 10. And that is because I'm like, no, I'm going to wake up when I want and then I'm going to go to the gym, definitely. So I'll just because normally I'm up at like 5:30, 6. But on certain days, so usually it would be a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'll sleep until 7:30 and then I'll go to the gym 8 till 9 and then I'll get a shower and then I won't start till 10. So it's like knowing that, well, on those 2 days, I'm definitely not starting till 10. So no calls before then, no one can reach me. And then I'm definitely going to finish by 6 on that day as well, which is rules that I don't have the rest of the week. So it is nice to keep in check as such. And also I try and not work Sundays, which isn't always the case, but mostly I don't work Sundays.
I think it's important to have that time to recharge, right? To keep your energy levels higher.
Yeah. I wish that I was better at it. And I think people should be. And I am not. I can't preach because I should be better. And I'm trying to get better. Like I'm listening to more podcasts and stuff, trying to get better at that.
Well, that's very honest of you. Thank you for that, Kath. Listen, business is it's moving faster than we've probably ever seen it move before. I don't think it'll ever slow down. I think this is just the new normal. How do you stay adaptable and open to change? And are there any specific strategies that you use to stay and remain innovative?
Again, probably not. Probably, I think I very much move with the times.
Okay.
We're a very like fast-paced kind of business in terms of like, for example, we can now see. I always said from the beginning, I've got no passion for a non-alcoholic brand because I love wine. I love, I love the buzz that you get off a glass of wine on a Friday night. I'm not saying go drinking every night. I definitely don't advise that. But if you want to have a nice glass of wine on a Friday or a Saturday, so what? And I believe that I've always said previously, like, I'm not going to make a non-alcoholic product because I don't align with that. Okay, that's not true. I'm now making a non-alcoholic product. And that is because I have to adapt with the times. And that's the way the world's going. Gen Z are not drinking, or they're certainly not drinking as much. Then you've got obviously all the women who are pregnant. You've got people who have just quit alcohol because they've had enough. And also even me, I'm partially thinking now, okay, well, on a Friday, I could just have a non-alcoholic. Or, if I'm going to my friend's baby shower and she's not drinking, I can support her by having a non-alcoholic. So it's kind of like learning to adapt with the world, and just wherever I see an opportunity, I'll just jump on it straight away, and I'll move on that as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very good at that. I'm quite like, we are a fast-paced young company, and we do just move with the times. And if something hits us like that's maybe not so positive or whatever, we just handle it, handle the situation, deal with it, solve the problem, and move on. And we're very just quick and fast-paced. But I just don't know if there's a strategy behind it, or if it's just my personality type.
I think it is your personality, Kath, if I'm allowed to say that. I think, there's, we call it setting your reticular activating system, your RAS. And once you've set your RAS on, I'm looking for an opportunity, your brain passes you up opportunities that it sees. So most of the time, our brain ignores 99% of the stuff that is received through your eyes, your ears, whatever it may be. And I use this when I'm coaching some of my clients. So a good example of that is, have a think about how many red cars you passed on the way to work this morning. And the answer is, I don't know. But you would have passed some, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But if I paid you £1,000 for every one you passed on the way home.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to tell you.
Now you're going to notice the red cars, right? So I think as an entrepreneur, you are tuned to look for opportunity.
Yeah. No, I think that is right. I've always got my eyes peeled for opportunities and the next new thing and the next new product and what we can do next. And naturally that's the case. But I don't have, like, on paper a set strategy.
Right.
That I go, okay, this is, the exact goals and whatever. We are just kind of working to, like, my mania, which is probably not a good thing, because if I die, what's going to happen?
I'm going to write that. Working to my mania. That is so cool. Listen, where does that take you next, though? If you could offer a glimpse into the future plans and goals for the business, what do you envisage as the next chapter for you guys?
Yeah, I see us becoming a global product, and being, exporting to multiple countries around the world. And I see me selling the business. Obviously not yet. I'm not ready. I love it, and it's nowhere near ready for sale anyway. But I would like to spend the next 10 years getting it ready for sale and then selling it. Because if this business was in the hands of someone with a lot of money, then God only knows what it could become. Because I look at, like, the brands that LVMH or Diageo are backing with all their cash, and the things they do with those brands are just phenomenal. And I just think if someone was backing us with the cash like that, our brands would just be unstoppable. And I care more about seeing that happen, whether I'm involved or not. I just want to see it pop off. So I would love to sell it to someone with a load of money to make it into your next Coca-Cola for wine.
Or at least sell some of it, maybe.
Yeah. Any amount.
Interesting. So I have absolutely loved having you on the podcast. You've given us so much value today, Kath. It's unreal.
Thank you.
I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
And it's a biggie.
Oh, no.
Strap in. Here we go. So listen, if you could, what are the top 3 biggest pieces of advice that you would give to maybe someone thinking about starting their own business, or maybe someone struggling with their business? What are your top 3?
Okay, so for me, resilience is key. Resilience is really, really, really necessary for any business owner, because there's just, I've taken some real big knocks, and I consider myself a resilient person. But, there's been times where I've almost been struck down. So I think it's very important to build your resilience so that you don't just get knocked out straight away. And I think it's good to have, like, jobs before you start your own business that are going to help to build your resilience, so that you don't just go. Because I find that, like, a lot of young people go straight into it, after uni or whatever, and they're just not strong enough yet. So they end up kind of getting knocked out because they can't get back up after a knock, or if they lose a bit of money for a few months, they can't cope. So I think resilience is my key
That's number
Like
one.
peace. Yeah. Two, I would always recommend that people ask for help. I think people struggle with this loads, and I have never stopped asking for help from the minute like I began my business or both businesses.
Mhm.
I've never stopped asking for help. I always say like, "Can you help me with that, please? What does this mean?" I put out posts on LinkedIn being like, "Hello, I really need help with this," and then the next thing I've got an influx of people helping me.
Mhm.
So I think that there's a lot of people out there that really struggle with asking for help when actually what they don't realize is so many people want to help you. And when you do ask for help, you get help. And then that also helps you get back up if you have taken a knock or something like that.
Mhm.
So asking for help for me is key as well.
Beautiful. Yep.
Um, Number three, build a great team. Team is just everything. And I've had people in and out the door. When I first started, I my biggest fear was to have to sack someone. It was genuinely my biggest fear. And the first time I ever sacked anyone, I went home and I cried for about 4 hours. And now, if you come into my business and you mess about, or you've got a terrible attitude and you bring the others down or whatever, I will sack you within 4 days. I'm not remotely bothered
Mhm.
about like getting rid of the bad eggs or the people who bring the team down, or if you haven't got the same culture, because people come in and they're like quite nasty, or if you've not got the right culture within your team, it's not going to work. So for me, you build a team that are just your you I started a business because I wanted to work with the people I want to work with. So it's up to me to build my team to be the people I want to be my team. So to create a strong, amazing team is key as well, because I could not do this without them, let me tell you.
Well, there's three pieces of gold right there, Kath, and
Cool.
you talk about resilience. We did an event in December here with the legend that is Frank Bruno,
Oh yeah.
and he talks about resilience. He's been through some pretty tough times with
Mhm.
mental health issues and all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff, and he's talking about resilience and getting back. You've just got to get back up, right?
Yeah. No matter what, you have
Got to
to.
be tough. Yeah, situational pressure stuff. This you've got to be tough.
Yeah.
Asking for help, 100% agree with that. That's so key to get the right people around you to help
100%.
you in the right way. And guess what? If you ask, as you've done on social media, the amount of people that want to give
They
you help
really
is just
do. They do.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Everyone wants to help. It's really, really good. And someone told me about how you're supposed to really, you should just help people 10 times and then eventually they'll start helping you back.
I remember talking to one of my colleagues, and she'd written a book, and she had a forward by three or four really really prominent business
Yeah.
heroes, right? And I remember saying to her at a barbecue, "How did you get these people to write the forward for your book?"
Mhm.
And she says, "I'll let you into a secret, Alan, but you're not allowed to tell anyone." I went, "Go on then." And I was thinking this big juicy secret was about to come out, and she went, "I asked them." And I went, "Oh, yeah, well, don't." A few years ago. But there's a lesson there, isn't there? That people
There is
do want to help other people, and just asking is so easy.
100%. Yeah, no, I really agree.
And I think the third one here, would it be okay if I explore this a little bit further? Because I think you're onto something really, really important here, which is, of course, we have to build a great team. But you said the cultural fit is really important, right?
Yeah, it really is.
And what we do in business is we measure performance,
Hmm.
KPIs, sales targets, the traditional stuff, right? But we have very, very few metrics for measuring trust or culture. And Simon Sinek talks about this. If you YouTube Simon Sinek SEAL Team 6, you'll see him talk about how the Navy SEALs judge people. So they see performance as the performance on the battlefield, but they see trust or culture as the performance off the battlefield, who that person actually is.
Yeah, yeah.
And what Simon teaches is that SEAL Team 6 would rather have someone with an average performance on the
Mhm.
battlefield as long as they can trust them.
Yeah, I actually would agree with that. To be
Mm.
honest, I would, because I've gone through an experience previously with a member of my staff stole from me £10,000.
Ouch.
So yeah, it was, and it wasn't just the money. Obviously, that's it's a big hit to a small business, but it was like how much I loved him.
Yeah.
He was really a friend. I really trusted him. He'd worked with me for years. Like, I'd done everything in my power to keep him happy. And then he did that to me, and it was just like a dagger to the heart.
Yeah.
And so now it's so much more. But it is, I won't lie, like if someone underperforms, for me as a small business, if I had a corporation and it was loads of money, then I probably would keep them because I'd be like, you're quite nice, you're all right. But in my business, I can't just keep you dangling there if you're not making money for 12 months. So I'll try my best to get them where they need to be.
Yeah.
But if after a year's time you're still not performing, then you will go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very good. It's been an absolute pleasure. There's some real gold in here for our audience. So thank you very much for that, Kath. And
Of course, thanks for having me. It was great.
hopefully we can have another chat soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.